Peace talks, negotiations, Vitkov, Dmitriev, Trump, Zelensky. Look at him, Putin. He's again wearing a military uniform. Exactly the same day that there is an American delegation in Kiev, representatives from Pentagon, high-ranked generals. And they came to Ukraine to familiarize the Ukrainian government with possible plan for negotiations with Russia. Okay. Well, as you see, Putin has his own view on what is happening, and he didn't say that the war should be stopped. He didn't mention any sort of the things relative to negotiations with Ukraine. Absolutely. Moreover, he called Ukrainian government a group of criminals. Yeah, I watched this video in Russian. I know Russian, so I may tell you what he was speaking about. So he called the Ukrainian government once again not a legitimate one, that from the March last year or this year, it is illegal for Ukraine and they're sitting on their golden toilets. Yeah, he said like that. And the only excuse for them to stay in power is the war with Russia. That's what he said. So Putin, stop the war, freeze the war, and there will be no excuse, and illegitimate Ukrainian government will be changed for legitimate one, yeah, if you really want it. There Putin also met with his generals, including General Gerasimov. Just look at this distance once again, yeah? He's like this teacher in the classroom. He also mentioned that the goals of the special military operation will be achieved, no matter what. And delusional Trump still thinks that he can do something here, that he can force or ask Russia for a ceasefire or to stop the war. Putin is showing with everything here that he wants to continue. He's wearing military uniform. He wears it each time that there are some of the talks about negotiations. Just notice, the last time he wore the military uniform was exactly the same. There were negotiations. Even after Alaska meeting, Putin wore the military uniform, showing that he doesn't really care. Alright, it seems like all of the 28 points of the peace plan have already been leaked to the press. I took it from Goncharenko Telegram channel. Well, as for me, those kind of the negotiations, 28 points, 50, 100, it doesn't really make a sense with that Putin's attitude, because Putin he calls everything illegitimate, that the goals will be achieved no matter what. So he will continue the war. Maybe he will slow down it. He will use maybe Donald Trump as the diplomatic warfare to force Ukraine to give up Donbass, and still he will continue after that. It's 100%. So Ukraine will not agree, but step by step we'll have so much information coming. Yeah, it's in Ukrainian, but I have everything here in English. So the first one is the confirmation of the Ukrainian sovereignty, which Ukraine already has. Actually, it's fighting for its sovereignty against Russia. Then Russia attacked Ukraine. Ukraine received security guarantees from the United States of America, but with conditions. What kind of the conditions? And we already had security guarantees with the United States of America, or from United States of America, since 1994. Ukraine gave up nukes, and is it working? No. So security guarantees, they do not work. Ukraine ensures not alignment with NATO alliance and writes it into its constitution. NATO confirms that Ukraine's non-membership forever. So now there is NATO in Ukrainian constitution as a goal, but they want to cancel it. Okay. Okay, this one is interesting. The size of Ukrainian armed forces is limited. Yeah, Russia come, Russia take us. It's like invitation. It's what are they talking about? They took our nukes, and now without real security guarantees, they tell Ukraine, give up your military, give up your army. Jeez. The next one, Ukraine remains a non-nuclear state. It is non-nuclear state for decades. Give us nuke someone, because it seems like with stupid American White House administration, that's the only solution probably. I mean, that's the only security guarantee, not just for Ukraine, but for every country. Alright, the next one, territorial issues. Crimea, Donetsk and Luhansk are recognized de facto as Russian, but Ukraine is not pushed to recognize those in the law or in constitution as Russian. No, de facto, they say, de facto. De facto, they're already almost occupied, if we speak about Luhansk. For Donetsk, no. Kherson and Zaporizhia regions, front line is frozen at the line of contact. Now Russia advances quite significantly in Zaporizhia region. We see that. Part of the territories becomes a demilitarized buffer zone under de facto Russian control. Do you really believe in that? That Russia will not put its army on its own controlled territory? I mean, it's still Ukrainian territory, but they will control it and they will put their military there. How can you ensure that Russia will maintain this buffer area? Are you crazy? Both sides commit not to change borders by force. I believe, yeah. I'm believer. Then the next block, military agreements. NATO does not deploy troops in Ukraine. Okay, it has never deployed those troops, just for maybe training missions, but at the same time, Russia also had the common training with NATO countries before Russia went crazy, yeah? Before Putin went crazy. NATO fighters are deployed in Poland. Poland is the part of NATO, so it's logical. If they have army, those are this is the NATO army. Like, the security dialogue is established between United States, NATO, Russia, creation of American-Russian working group. We see that group already was created between Vitkov and Dmitriev. Right, Russia legally commits to a policy of non-aggression against Ukraine and Europe. If you check out the Russian constitution right now, it forbids aggressive actions already. If Russia attacks someone for the reason other than self-defense, it is a violation of the Russian constitution. It is a crime. Nevertheless, Russia calls the war a special military operation and applies its army somewhere in a neighboring state, as Ukraine. So Russia legally commits means absolutely nothing. All right, economy and reconstruction of Ukraine. The United States and Europe launch a large investment package for Ukraine's reconstruction. 100 billion of frozen Russian assets for Ukraine's recovery. The United States receives 50% of the profits. Of course, Donny, 50% of profits. That's the main part where he is the most interested. Europe adds another 100 billion. So, yeah, give money, everyone except the United States of America, the country that should have guaranteed the security of Ukraine but didn't fulfill its obligations, and now it wants profit. Oh my god. Other frozen Russian assets will go to joint Russian-American projects. That's the other part of the profit for USA. I would say not for USA, but for Donny personally, yeah? Next, creation of the Ukraine Development Fund, investments in infrastructure, resources, technologies. I wonder who would invest to Ukraine in this case. Then there is absolute uncertainty whether Russia attacks Ukraine once again or not, because this deal is crazy. I'm reading the points of some sort of the fairy tale. Nevertheless, it was officially presented. I'm laughing about it, as well as many of the other experts, because it's unachievable. But we have to speak about it, yeah, anyways. Just like that. Ask Putin if he supports it personally. All right, now about Russia. Gradual lifting of sanctions, Russia's return to G8, long-term economic cooperation between United States and Russia. Probably they're doing it right now, and probably that is why they need to achieve so-called peace in Ukraine. Next, humanitarian issues. Exchange all for all, prisoners of war, civilians, children return back to Ukraine. Well, they do not specify to Ukraine or where, but children, they say, return of the children. Since Russia kidnapped those, it means they should return those back. Humanitarian programs, families, reunifications, educational programs on tolerance. And here is interesting, denazification. Yes, in the document, denazification. What does it mean? Hard to say, but it is out there. So we see actually a demilitarization, that is what Putin wants, and denazification. In this document, they are written energy and special facilities, restart of Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, International Atomic Agency supervision, they're doing it also right now. Electricity delivery from the station 50-50 between Ukraine and Russia. United States helps restore Ukrainian gas infrastructure, maybe supplying and selling its own gas. I don't know. That is what is happening already. Internal politics in Ukraine, elections 100 days after signing agreement. Full amnesty for all participants in the war. So we should forgive Russians' war crimes or what? Implementation and control. The agreement is legally binding. Control is exercised by Peace Council led by Donald Trump. Violations. Sanctions. Immediate sanctions, yeah. After signing, immediate ceasefire and withdrawal to agreed positions. So if Ukraine gives up the half of the army, it means that Russia will be sanctioned if it attacks Ukraine once again. Oh, that's the penalty for Russia. Of course, they'll never attack Ukraine once again. And again, back to the territorial issue. So Crimea, Donetsk, Luhansk has recognized the fact that Russia, so Ukraine should give up its own territories, which will never ever happen. If Zelensky supports that idea, it means that he will be cancelled by Ukrainian people. It's 100%. Our warriors will not withdraw voluntarily. It will not happen. So basically, guys, it's a big nothing burger. Here it means absolutely nothing, and you saw President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, who says that Ukrainian government is illegitimate, and if Ukrainian government signs everything of that, like let's imagine that Zelensky signs everything of that, for Russia it would mean absolute zero. So they will continue the war, and Putin said about it openly today. So what's the ambassador of the United States tweeted today? It's absolute bullshit. Trump's vision to end this war. Momentum is finally on the side of peace. The peace. Just switch on the freaking Russian channels and watch what they're talking about. Take any sort of the Putin's conference, interview, what he said today, and compare it to this absolute nonsense you presented to Ukraine. Oh my God. Yeah, of course, Zelensky met with those generals today in Ukraine. They say, oh, Zelensky, sign this piece of shit and give up your country for Russia. And Zelensky said, you know, Russia attacked our country yesterday and we found so many Western-made components in Russian cruise missiles. So here you go. That's what we found, some micro schemes, Western-made, and Russia continued to attack Ukraine. Well, allegedly, Zelensky supported negotiations around this plan. That's the latest information we have from Axios. Well, there is a lot of information around this stuff, guys, coming almost every hour or maybe every 10 minutes, something new. But Zelensky or any sort of the other president will not give up Ukrainian interests here, even though Zelensky is out there in some of the corrupt schemes. After all, it's better to have a corrupt country than do not have it at all. So this pressure of Donald Trump's administration, which is around this scandal, with the president's circle, they'll try to press Zelensky personally to push him to give up Ukrainian interests, but I think that it will not be achieved. They will not reach their goal, and that bullshit they published, they say themselves, those generals, that we are still negotiating. It is the initial plan that will be changed, maybe, but also Donald Trump, again, allegedly, is pushing the deal very hard and very fast to achieve it as soon as possible. Why? Well, because he wants to have Russia as the partner in his mind. I'm sure about it. He thinks that Russia could be an enemy for China, but it will not happen like that, absolutely. He is delusional. I mean, Trump himself, he is crazy. Yeah, Ukrainian sources already wrote that Trump wants Zelensky to agree to end the war immediately, demanding accelerated timelines and pushing for the deal on his terms, according to the senior United States officials. RBK Ukraine reported. Okay, good luck, Donny, good luck. Again, everything could happen, but if Zelensky signs that deal, it means the postponed war, bigger war with Russia, then the Ukrainian army is not that ready as it is today, and then Ukraine will lose completely, entirely. That's the Putin's plan. He uses Donny as his weapon. Zelensky should never ever sign that kind of the document. He agreed on consultations with Donald Trump. He said, okay, we agreed on some of the points, maybe we'll see, okay, that's expected from Zelensky. He didn't say no, he didn't say yes, but Donny is pushing him very hard. I think that Donny's pushing mechanism will break apart in this attempt. And about the corruption scandal within Ukraine, Zelensky met with members of parliament from his party. Well, according to the information coming after meeting, Zelensky and his team will not obstruct investigation done by NABU. So there will be many more things uncovered. I hope that president is not involved there. On Telegram, I follow some of the Russian channels and I see that they're panicking already. They say that for Ukraine, it's actually okay to keep 500,000 soldiers if there is a ceasefire, because before the war had started, Ukraine had 250,000 soldiers. Now there is 1 million, but Ukraine cannot afford to maintain 1 million soldiers in case of the ceasefire, prolonged ceasefire without active battle. So actually 5 or 600,000 soldiers is twice more than Ukrainian army had before, which means not that demilitarization of Ukrainian army, but increasement the original army by 2 of the times. That's what they say, because Russians started this SVO or SMO, Special Military Operation, in attempt to denazify and demilitarize. But in fact, after SMO, if it is over, Ukraine will have double size of the army. Logical? Yes. So for now we have those news. Zelensky agrees to negotiate on Trump's peace plan for Ukraine. Yeah, what else can he say? No, I will not accept your plan. That might harm Trump's ego. Trump will say, oh, Ukraine is wrong, we should lift sanctions from Russia and to push Ukraine more. So Zelensky just plays this Trump's stupid game, which will lead to absolutely nothing. By the way, Yermak was also presented, so he's still in Zelensky's team, as well as Umerov. He returned back from Istanbul. So after all, those rumors that he afraid that he left the country, they were not correct. Now he is out there negotiating. We'll see. Guys, super drama is happening around Ukraine, you see. Well, actually, I like most of the points of this plan. And NATO membership, do you really think that it could save Ukraine? For now, I don't think so. Without United States, and they will not be deployed to protect Ukraine, it's 100%. NATO is not a security guarantee. I think just nuclear weapons are security guarantee for any sort of the country nowadays. That's the bad thing, actually, because more countries will try to attempt to get nukes. Actually, the main thing that I don't really like in this plan is that Ukraine should give its own territory voluntarily to Russia for some sort of the security guarantees under conditions. Like what are we talking about? For Ukraine to give up its the most defended area, I think Ukraine will never ever agree on that, but for Russia it is must have. So this thing, territorial integrity of Ukraine, is the main key point to achieve some sort of the result, but it is unachievable because you see, Russia doesn't recognize Ukrainian government. They want full denazification, demilitarization, and they want to occupy at least. They understand that Ukraine will not give up Donbass just like that. So their demand in the list like that is just to continue the war in Ukraine. That's the only reason for them to negotiate with Donny, to blame Ukraine that, you see, it doesn't accept the peace plan. But Zelensky has his own game here, and he said, okay, we agree, on lots of the stuff. We're gonna negotiate. We'll see how it goes. But again, it is Nothingburger. Everything of that is Nothingburger. No one may really influence Putin's crazy ideas. And Donny still thinks that Putin is some sort of the rational leader, that this conflict is not about Russia restoring its empire. It is just some sort of the local thing. Russia needs Donbass. They need Donbass. Give them Donbass and that's it. Russia will be happy. There will be peace. You'll have good relations. You'll kiss each other, Ukrainians, Russians. Everything will be like this hippie style. Yeah. Let's watch the video today was recorded with J.D. Vance. Yeah, here we go with it.
Why don't you stop killing each other and start trading with one another? Why, rather than Russia and Ukraine killing one another, why don't they actually engage in some commerce with one another, travel between the two countries, engage in some sort of cultural exchange? That is his fundamental perspective that he takes into these things. And fundamentally, if we get more peace in the world, it's good for American workers, it's good for the American people, and the president's going to keep on pursuing peace.
Oh shit, they're so delusional. They live in their own fairy tale. It was like that before. Ukrainians and Russians travel. There was the cultural exchange. Actually, Russia influenced the Ukrainian culture a lot. We watch Russian movies. We watch Russian TV shows, Russian cartoons. We listen to Russian music. Even now, some people listen to that stuff. But everything of that was destroyed by freaking Putin. Don't you fucking understand that, J.D. Vance? Oh, or Donald Trump, whoever's there. They're so incompetent, guys. Oh, shit. And for us, it's understandable, yeah, for average people. But they, with their chicken taco mind, they cannot get it that Putin wants the war to continue. He started. He wants restoration of his empire. He's like this new Hitler. Not understanding that will bring, actually, unfortunately, more devastations, more losses, more casualties. Fuck, this is crazy, guys. They're like kids, young 5-year-old kids in the kindergarten. They're stupid. Americans, who you elected? Those politicians, they have no brain, absolutely, together with Donny. They are unable to stop this war. No one can stop this war except Putin and his circle, and they don't want to stop. Don't you see? Putin today went on freaking Russian TV and said that Ukrainian government doesn't exist. We're gonna smash till we reach the goal of the special military operation. Listen to Putin! Guys, what can I say? What more can I say here? I don't know. I feel like a doctor. Then I speak about American politics, and then I speak about Putin. And this perception is absolute freaking disaster. Well, for Ukraine, it's important to keep this goal. Okay, we should understand that those SIG guys in the White House, we need somehow to deal with them, because after all, they apply some sanctions on Russia, which are working. Yes, there are troubles to receive some of the weapons, but after all, they sell some of the weapons to our European allies. So we have to somehow speak with them, yeah? Do not deny all of that vomiting that is coming from the White House, and just continue to increase the capabilities of Ukrainian army, because, guys, what they want for Ukraine is to capitulate, basically, given your own territories for Russia, it means capitulation. Yeah, and those kind of the documents, they say that Russia may even rent this territory from Ukraine. Rent the territory. Oh my God, this is crazy. But in general, there are no any freaking conditions for Ukraine to capitulate in front of Russia. You see, yeah, it's very hard in Zaporizhia direction. Russia takes territory. It's very hard in Mirnograd, but Russians, they're unable to get Pokrovsk fully. And today, for the first time, Gerasimov actually said truth, that they control 70%, he said 70% of Pokrovsk. And there is no encirclement. He didn't mention it once again, yeah. Somehow 18 Ukrainian battalions disappeared somewhere. So Gerasimov now sings the other story, because even for Putin it is understandable that encirclement of Pokrovsk and Mirnograd, it is not happening even now. So yeah, Russia is attacking, they're losing their forces, they're losing their economy little by little, and they use Dmitriev and Vitkov to force Ukraine for capitulation through those kind of the channels, because they are unable to achieve it on military warfield. Yeah, they move. It's very, very difficult for Ukrainian army, and I rose multiple of the questions on this channel about the competence of the Ukrainian command, Ukrainian government, and so on, so on, so on. But in the long-term scenario, there is no perspective for Russia to occupy entire Ukraine. Absolutely. And if they want to get Slavyansk, Kramatorsk, and Konstantinivka under control, they would have to waste hundreds of thousands of the troops for that mission. And who knows what might happen by the time in Russia. It might also take a couple of years, maybe 3 years, who knows, because this area is very, very defended. So physically, the conditions do not exist for Ukraine just to capitulate. Okay, Russia encircled Kiev, they went to Dnipro River, they occupied Mykolaiv, Odessa, and everything. Okay, right now we are forced to capitulate. Maybe, yeah. But here, no. Ukraine still controls more of its own territories than in 2022. Russians were repelled from multiple of the regions, and even then the Russian forces were close to Kiev, attacking from multiple of the sides. Ukraine didn't surrender. And do you want Donny to force Ukraine to surrender now together with Putin? Oh, those are fairy tales, my friends. Yeah, that's kind of the interesting video, guys. And today I'm gonna film one more with the front lines updates. More news will arrive, of course, and it's just just a video about Nothingburger document presented, and the real stuff, yeah, was in the beginning of this video. Then Putin said that he wants the war to continue. My friends, thank you for your kind support on Patreon and on membership of this channel. The link for my Patreon you may find in the video description just below. As for membership, press join button somewhere here, and that's how you make those videos possible. I am working for you every day to present, I think, more or less reliable analytics based on facts and my own conclusions. Well, if you don't have the opportunity to support me in that way, you may also press like to this video and subscribe for the channel to boost this video in YouTube algorithms. By doing so, you also help me a lot. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.